If you treat your marketing like a vending machine, insert coin, get your product, you're really missing out on a ton of ROI. There's something to be said about getting what you pay for. So if that's all you're paying for, that's what you're going to get. A lot of execution, but probably zero strategic lift. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of leaders make. They don't know how to leverage marketing and make it this boost factor, this amplification of what their firm is and does. You want marketing to connect with clients, not just be a part of stuff you do when you're out there into the market. So if you've ever been disappointed about marketing not working for you, this video is for you. I'm going to go through some top ways that leaders can adjust how they look at marketing teams so they can get the best leverage. Point number 1. Stop hiring for function, hire for thought partnership. A lot of firms begin their marketing departments by hiring someone to do work that no one else wants to do. Usually it's proposals or social media or something like that. And when you hire strictly for function, you're going to miss out on a whole layer of nuance, strategy, and expertise to come alongside those people to bring your firm's story to life. So let me give you an example of a thought shift. You can be thinking about, how can I get this task done? Or you can be thinking about, if I could get this task done and we could get some lift, we could get some more leads, we can get more richer opportunities, we could talk to more people we really want to talk to. That's the difference between hiring for function and thought leadership. You're also going to get a huge benefit with creativity and ideation. Someone with experience, business experience, is going to be able to look at things way more strategically. They're going to understand your business objectives in a way that someone who's just flipping burgers, which is kind of sometimes what it's about, but if you just have a low-level person to execute, they're not going to have the same perspective. So another example, have you ever seen a really well-done campaign, but it's not relevant, it's not timely, it's not connected to what you really want to be putting out there? There are plenty of great executors out there. There's a lot of technically proficient marketers, but not every marketer is going to be understanding the strategy and sophistication of what you're trying to do. They may not have the business perspective. They may not understand your clientele. That is one of the differences between getting a thought leader and someone who just knows how to do marketing sort of in a standard way. So let's consider the difference in this question. How can I hire someone to do these social media campaigns or proposals better versus how can I hire someone who's in my corner, who really gets it and can amplify and drive things forward in a way that I don't either have time to do or the skill to do? The point I'm trying to make here is pretty simple. If you hire for tactical skills, you will get tactical results. If you broaden your perspective and dare to think bigger and hire strategically for thought partnership, you're going to get a whole lot more. The second point I'd like to put out there for consideration is learn the language of marketing. This is not a comment on intelligence. This is just, I don't know how to say it, but there's a fluency that a lot of firm leaders have around financials and operations, metrics, KPI, even HR and recruiting stuff. But there's very little acumen around the language of marketing itself. So doing a little bit of an investment there, I think, gives leaders a heck of a lot more leverage and a lot more opportunity to get the best from their teams. Let me give you an example. There's a lot of metrics now in digital marketing, but do you understand which metric actually matters most to your business or your practice? Impressions, vanity metrics, tracking pixels, there's so much language. I think it's valuable to understand what is the 1, 2, or maybe even 3 things that really matter. What does conversion mean? If you can adopt some of these terms and learn a little bit of this language, you're going to go a long way for understanding how the plan works, what was the thought behind it, and all that stuff. More importantly, this language, this world, is laddering up to your firm's broader objectives. If they're revenue goals, market share, visibility, whatever it is, I think understanding how that support structure works will be a better investment of your time than simply complaining about what you don't understand. And what if you don't understand? Growth is a part of the job. Growth is a part of every leader's job. And this is one of the ways that modern businesses have to operate. Marketing is real and it's necessary. If you treat it like a necessary evil, though, and deny yourself the chance to understand how to leverage it, you're leaving opportunities and really great ideas on the table. Another way to look at this is if you don't invest, what happens? If you don't invest a little bit about how this stuff works and learning the lingo, you're almost abdicating this responsibility to someone else who may not understand what you understand. They may not see what you see. Help them understand in their way. The third point I'd like to make is give better feedback. I cannot tell you how many times I have put things out there into the world. I've sent emails, tried to follow up, and there has been absolutely no response whatsoever. It's pretty disheartening. I put really good thought and I did a lot of hard work to put my best forward. And to be met with no response internally within my firm, that's pretty disheartening. So obviously no feedback is sort of the worst case scenario. But I've also gotten a ton of bad feedback. Stuff like, this sucks. I don't like it. I don't understand. In some cases, that was the full extent of the feedback I got. I don't know about you, but that's not really feedback I can work with. And I'm gonna put good money on the table and make a bet that that's not feedback that anyone could work with. I'd like to just pull back the curtain a little bit. A marketer, a communication specialist, a PR person, whoever is working on your team, their hope is to put forward really amazing work and they want to know what you want. So if you are unable to articulate that and guide their efforts and guide their ideation, they're going to be left completely rudderless in the water. When you look at that activity from the outside, you might be tempted to guess they don't know what they're doing, when really you don't know how to give good feedback. Here are some ideas of how to remedy that. Learning a couple of phrases can go a really long way. You can point out things that you find confusing, you find unclear. You can question whether or not it will be understandable. You can correct technical information, obviously, but what do you resonate with? What puts you off? What confuses you? Just giving a little bit of feedback along those lines goes a really long way. And I know I keep saying that phrase over and over again, but these are very small investments. And they're not hard to do and implement right away, but the miles you get from them is tremendous. Like a lot of other things, a marketing team is like a learning system. It's a living, breathing thing. And you can teach it. You can teach people about your preferences, your styles, what works, what doesn't, and they will learn. The key to that, though, is being able to actually use great language and give solid, actionable feedback. The next point I want to make is it's important to understand the marketing timeline. Your business has multiple calendars going on. There's fiscal, financial calendars, there's payroll calendars, there's operational and deadline and fiduciary, like regulatory calendars. There's also a marketing calendar. There's a sales calendar as well. A lot of people equate the sales and marketing calendars together, but they're quite different. A very easy way to understand the difference is that sales works in sort of days and weeks, maybe even months. Marketing works in weeks, months, quarters, and sometimes even years. The scale is just longer. And there's a reason for that. One, there's a lot of interstitial steps along the way to get from zero to a fully functioning campaign. Each of these steps are now quite complicated from a technology standpoint, and everyone's checking to make sure that the work is accurate. You want that work done in sort of a non-rushed way. The second thing is we want to capture a lot of ROI along the way and produce meaningful metrics. We want to understand what's working and what's not. Sales is way more direct. You can make a phone call, send an email, follow up, send a proposal. You'll get a yes or no back. Marketing is just a little more nuanced now. So give that nuance time to operate and work for you. I want to let you in on a tiny little secret. ChatGPT and other generative AI is awesome for ideation and putting ideas together. That is not the same as actually building a campaign in a marketing automation system, writing things out and confirming that the voice and tone are correct, marrying words with visuals in a really elegant way, putting everything together so that it moves in the right direction. Point number 5, invest with intention. And there are really two parts of this I want to emphasize. You do need to invest. Marketing is a part of modern business, and it can be done very cheaply and it can be done very expensively. The difference is really there just how much you spend. But that doesn't tell you a single thing about how effective it is, which brings us to the second part of this point. Invest with intention. And if you don't even know what a good investment looks like, I encourage you to take a look at some benchmarking studies. Intentionality is extremely important. Often a marketing plan is laddered up to support broader business objectives. And there's a problem if there are no clearly stated, clearly defined broader business objectives. I'll give you an example. One of my relatives was starting a company and they were so excited and they really wanted to leverage my experience. And of course, I said, okay. So as we got started talking, they were talking about company names and this and that and the other thing. So I asked them, what services are you going to offer and who are you offering them to? And there was a little bit of a blank moment there. And they realized, oh, I don't know. I said, okay, well, we kind of start there before we begin marketing. Marketing is not the first step sometimes. The first step is trying to define what the value is. Then marketing can bring the value in that story to life. I still laugh a little bit. My relative kind of had this aha moment like, oh, I need to have a business first before you can market it. And I said, yeah, true story. So I want to wrap this up by saying that, again, if you treat marketing like a vending machine, that's kind of the experience you're going to get. And if you're curious about how to implement any of these strategies or even go beyond them, I would love to have a conversation with you. Please visit my website, book a consultation. We'd love to see what it would take to help you move forward with more confidence.